unrecognizable makeup. People should not be able to recognize you. Hi everyone, it's Smitha. Welcome back. Another day, another trend. And this time, everybody is trying to look unrecognizable. Now, a lot of people might want to ask, why do you want to look like somebody else? Why do you want to do this? Because it's fun. Makeup is fun. Have fun with it. And the stuff that you can do with makeup is limitless, the creativity that you can bring about. I don't want to look like anybody else. I'm very happy with the way I look and I feel, and I love myself way too much. But I'm a creative person. I'm an artist. So I want to try new things. So if you'd like to follow along and create with me, bring your palettes and foundations along and let's get started. What is unrecognizable makeup? Now, according to all the media that I was looking at, basically you should start with something, but at the end you should look like something else. I think I want to look like myself, but a little bit unrecognizable, but very sophisticated. Let's start by prepping the skin. For moisturizer, I'm going to be using one of my favorites, Confidence in a Cream. This is by IT Cosmetics. I'm going to apply a generous amount all over my face and neck. You actually don't need this much because it's a very thick cream, but I just like the way it feels on my skin. So I use a tad too much. I go heavy on moisturizers, in fact, whether it's this or something else. But again, you do you. Also, someone in my previous video was asking me why I don't apply creams under my eyes. I do apply an eye cream at night, but I don't like to apply it just before I use makeup because sometimes concealers tend to move when you apply an eye cream underneath, so just keep that in mind. But yes, absolutely, you need to take care of that skin because it's the most sensitive. So I would ask you to include it as part of your nighttime or morning time routine. I personally don't prefer it just before I apply makeup. I used to do that in the past and my concealer always moved, so I stopped doing that. And then using a lip balm, this is the Jane Iredale Lip Stain in Forever Pink. It stains your lips, but is also a lip balm. I'm going to use this to hydrate my lips. I love how pretty it looks by itself. Sometimes I just wear this on its own. It's so pretty. The skin is prepped. Now, if you're using an SPF, it should be after your moisturizer and before your primer. Today, I'm not stepping out anywhere. I know technically you need to use an SPF even when you're inside the house, but I have back-to-back recordings today, so I'm going to skip it. But use it. You use it. You use it after your moisturizer. And now for primer, I'm going to be using the One Size Secure the Glow Tacky Primer. I'm going to first focus this in areas where I have my fine lines and pores and then spread it all over the face. This is also going to form that tacky layer. So whatever you apply over this, like foundation or concealer, is going to stick to your skin because it's sticky. So if something sticks to your skin, it automatically becomes long-lasting, and that's the whole purpose of a tacky primer. I'm going to go a little light with the foundation because I am going to be using a lot of Dimension products. For foundation, I'm going to be using the Diffusion Dew from Make Beauty, and this is in the shade 6. I'm going to shake this really well, and you'll see this is already actually very runny. It's a very thin product. But I want very light coverage today, so I'm going to mix it with the One Size serum. This is actually a base thinner. You can use it with any foundation to make the base very thin. I'm picking this up with a Real Techniques foundation brush, and I'm going to stipple it all over my face, starting with the T-zone. You always want to start with the center of the face because if you apply too much product in the perimeter of your face, your foundation can get in the hairline and it's not a good show. So always first start from the center and spread it outward. Wow, look at that beautiful glow. Although we've thinned this product down so much, it is still giving the coverage, but it's not looking heavy. And observe that I never apply foundation under my eye because that's where we will go with the concealer. If you first apply a foundation and then a concealer over it, you're just doubling up on the layers, and that's sure to cake up or crease. So you don't want to do that. Wherever you can apply just one layer, keep it to that and make sure to bring it all the way down to your neck. Although we have the foundation on now, there's really no structure to the face. It looks flat because we have no dimension. But before I start adding dimension to this look, I'm going to color correct. Now you can use a peach or an orange corrector to color correct, but I'm going to be using a concealer that's a tad bit darker than my skin tone. This is the Milani concealer in the shade 150. I'm going to use it under my eyes to cover up my dark circles and patches around my mouth and to spot correct in any other areas. I'm going to let this sit on my skin and get a tad bit dry and tacky. That way it gives me more coverage when I blend it out. If I blend it out right now, it's going to shear out. We want more coverage, so I'm going to wait. Until then, I'm going to add some structure to my face by bronzing it, for which I'm going to be using the Physicians Formula bronzing stick. Unfortunately, they don't have this exact product. They've changed the product a little bit. I'm going to link that in the description box below, so make sure to check that out. But I love this product because it's like a crayon. It's so easy to use this, especially focusing this exactly in areas where you need it, without spreading it too much. I'm mostly going to be using it in the circumference of my face, hollows of my cheekbones, to contour my nose as well as jawline. And to blend it out, I'm just going to be using my foundation brush again. I just like to use the same brush for different products, so that way I don't have to put in more effort into blending everything out. There's going to be some residue left in the brush, and that'll help to blend different products seamlessly. And to blend out my nose contour, I'm just going to use my fingers. I like the precision that it gives. And now that the concealer is a little bit dry and tacky, I'm going to use a concealer brush to blend everything out. And as you can see, that gives you full coverage because we waited for it to dry down just a tad bit. Make sure it's not completely dry. It just has to be tacky. And it has completely covered up the patches and the dark circles. Now that we've color corrected, I can use a lighter shade of concealer to highlight. So I'm going to be using the Milani concealer. This is in the shade 135. And I'm going to use this in the highest planes of my face. Again, wait for it to get a little bit tacky before I blend it out. Now, why do you need a concealer to highlight? That's because lighter shades attract more light. So in areas where you've applied the lighter concealer, light is going to reflect more in those areas and those features look more prominent. And that's why we apply lighter concealer to highlight in the high planes of your face. I'm going to blend everything out with a dry sponge. Again, it's a dry sponge, not a damp sponge. Dry sponge just gives you more coverage than dampening it and using it. I'm also going to apply a tad bit in the center of my forehead and also on my eyelids to even out the skin base. And again, I'm blending everything out with the dry sponge. And now for blush, I'm going to be using Say Beauty. This is in the shade Spicy. This is a beautiful terracotta shade. I'm taking a little bit in the back of my hand, and with my Real Techniques brush, I'm going to apply it to the highest planes of my cheeks. I like to apply it higher up because it gives me a lifted effect. If you apply it on your cheekbones, it gives a more rounded effect. So depending on the kind of look you're going for, you can do higher up or on the apples of your cheeks. That looks fabulous. Now I'm going to set my face with powder, for which I'm going to be using the One Size Translucent Loose Powder. I'm going to first lightly set my entire face so the concealer and the foundation don't crease. And then I'm also going to bake. Baking is a makeup technique where you apply your translucent powder or loose powder, typically in your high points, wherever you applied your concealer, and let it sit there for a couple minutes. The heat from your body and your skin helps to set the makeup. So it's literally using the powder to bake your face. And after a few minutes, you just dust it off, and that's going to give more structure to the face. I would only advise you to bake, one, if you do not have overly dry under eyes or dry skin. And second, if you're used to powder and it doesn't kick up. I'm going to let this sit and bake for a few minutes until I finish up my eye makeup, and then we can come back and dust it off. From the Boring palette, which is my collaboration with Ofra Cosmetics, I'm going to dip into depth with an angled brush. I'm going to fill in both top as well as bottom portion of my brows. Although this is a deeper brown, it's so soft, so it's going to give you those fine hair-like strokes. Next, I'm picking up Buff. I'm going to use this very light-handedly at the crease using a blending brush. And this brush is from Sigma. It's the Sigma E40 blending brush. I'm using small circular motion and going all the way from the outer to the inner corner, slowly building up that color by layering it. I'm also going to be using it in the very outer corner, pushing it from the outer corner towards the center of the lid. And then with a smaller blending brush, I'm going to pick up depth again, and I'm going to use it to deepen the outer corner and outer crease. Again, building up that color until I'm happy with the intensity. So I'm going to keep on layering and adding and keep on blending. And then with a smaller smudge brush, I'm going to smudge it and smoke it out in my lower lash line. Next, I'm taking Halo with a flat, fluffy brush. Now, as you know, white eyeshadows and yellow eyeshadows can get patchy if you just drag it on your lid. So use a flat, fluffy brush and press it in instead. That's when you get the maximum pigment payoff. And then I'm also going to use it to highlight my brow bones. Using the Aqua Resist pencil from Makeup Forever in Graphite, which is the black eye pencil, I'm going to tightline. And then I'm going to dip into Intense, which is the black eyeshadow, with a flat shading brush. And I'm going to start pushing that eyeshadow upward and outward from the lash line. And that should give that beautiful smoky effect in the outer corner. And then I'm dipping into Intense again with the same flat shader brush. And I'm going to stamp it throughout my lash line, both top as well as bottom lash lines. And in the bottom lashes, I'm going to smudge it right underneath my lashes. It's time to finish up, so I'm going to first curl my lashes. This is the Sally Hansen curler. And for mascara, I'm trying something new today. This is the Paradise Big Deal Mascara, a new one from L'Oreal. And I'm going to be using it both in my top as well as bottom lashes before I use false lashes, for which I'm using Tatti lashes in Hustler. The powder has baked enough, so I'm going to dust this off. And here is the finished eye look. That looks clean, sophisticated, and classy. This is the kind of makeup that I absolutely love. It should be minimalistic, yet glam, and extremely sophisticated. It should be simple, but glam at the same time. For lipstick, I'm going to be doing a combination. I'm going to start with a brow pencil to line my lips. This is the Kokie Cosmetics pencil in the shade Auburn. I'm just using it in the borders and lightly shading it inward. The reason I like to use a brow pencil as a lip liner is because they don't feather out in the edges. If you especially have mature skin, creamy lip liners tend to feather out or bleed in the edges, but the brow pencils don't do that. For lipstick, I'm going to be using Swiss Beauty, and this is in the color Coffee. Using a lip brush to lightly apply just in the corners, and I'm going to soften and blend it towards the center of the lip. I'm trying to create an ombre lip here. And then I'm going to top it off with this Rem Beauty Plumping Lip Gloss in the shade Crunchy. That's exactly what I wanted, and I'm just so happy I did this. It looks absolutely stunning. Wow. Wow. I say that to my dog. I'm just being silly. I love the way this came together. I'm going to quickly change, but before that, I want to show you a before shot. And here is the after. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so comment below and let me know. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to thumbs up. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing. If you want information on any of the products that I used, you'll find it in the description box right below this video, along with all my social media links in case you plan to follow me there. Love you guys so much, and I will see you soon with a brand new one. Bye guys.